Wow.
Chimafidi non kotu era one radio. Samupe jumpedietia. Chimafidi non kotu era one radio. Oh, ayumpamchima. Chimtu asampamchima. Chimtu agratumchima. Era one,
good evening, Era One radio listeners. I think it's evening in the United States, 6:17 p.m. Eastern. It might be a different type of sunshine or moon in wherever you live. So for some people, it might be daytime, others it might be in the morning. Wherever you are welcome to join us on Era One Radio. Tonight, we are continuing our discussion on health is wealth, so protect it. Your health is your wealth, so you need to protect your health. Otherwise, it's going to be something else. Well, we are back in the studio, and I'm honored and privileged to have my co-host, Dr. Babatunde Oloyede, is here with us. Last week, we looked at the part 3 of Know Your Numbers, the relevance of laboratory results for effective diagnosis. Everything in life is about numbers. So for those of you who dodge mathematics, you can't dodge forever. Everything is numbers. I mean, if you have to wake up in the morning, it's time, it's numbers. Your credit score is numbers. Your blood pressure, it's numbers. Your sodium level, it's numbers. Your potassium level, these are all numbers, and they are very relevant to your doctor being able to diagnose what is going amiss in your body. So tonight, we're going to take a little bit of a detour. We're going to discuss the hormones in your body. This is an application of what we've been looking at. We don't want to keep on hitting on numbers. So we'll talk about hormones in the body. And then next week, we'll come back and take the analytes one by one and go into details. Well, we are broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, and also on Modern Ghana Radio. The number to call is 2402-802-633. And if you want to text, it's 510-931-0946. Please don't be selfish. Share this broadcast because this is the health program that you're not going to get in anywhere on earth. It's only being broadcast live today, the first day of June. We are in the half of the year, so we need to take good care of our health. Well, before I continue, let me reintroduce my co-host. This is a man I've known for years. We've been buddies for a long time. And when you talk about Nigeria and Ghana Jollof, of course, Ghana Jollof will win. So we don't argue over that because he knows the obvious. But then we go way back, both of us in the U.S. Public Health Service. And he's in charge of the chemistry department in the Federal Bureau in North Carolina. And so, Doc, you are welcome as usual.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes.
Any updates?
Good to see you again. Yeah. I think the weather is getting better, and we're entering into summer bit by bit. The kids are home, so they have functions for you to participate in. So, as a good parent, you have to give them that time also. So we'll see. I think as summer is coming along, we'll see what we can do and see how to participate in those things that they've lined up.
Well, speaking about summer and the kids home, that's a lot of bills we're going to be paying because water bill is going to go up, electric bill is going to go up. Everything is good before they go back to school. They have sucked our pocket before they leave. But it's part of life. You can't kick them out.
There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do with that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, all is well and good. All right. So as I said, Ellen, we are looking at the hormones in our body. Unfortunately, we started a little bit late today because of glitches. I believe the AI technology visited our studio today and was trying to prevent us from doing what we have to do. But anyway, it's good. Well, let me just go into a little intro. We are looking at hormones in the body. What are hormones? Let me start this way. The genetic code of any human is the DNA, which is responsible for determining who we become. The body then replicates itself by a process called transcription and transfer of bits of this DNA using what we call RNA, ribonucleic acid. And the transfer RNA does this ultimate transfer. All right, now let's switch into what we're talking about, hormones. The regulation of human blood and fluids are controlled by hormones and enzymes. These help in digestion and assimilation for the body to carry on its activities. So tonight, Dr. Oloyede will help us to understand the role or functions of the hormones in our system. And before he comes to kick the starter, hormones and enzymes, sometimes they work in juxtaposition. And enzymes are simply biological catalysts that speed up biochemical reactions without causing them to alter, which means they take part in the process, but they don't really get altered. They do their job and they sneak away. Hormones, the other way, are chemicals that, like the steroids, like testosterone, estrogen, or peptides, which includes insulin, are created by a component of an organism and transmit messages to other organs or tissues to provoke cellular responses. Well, this source is from google.com. But then Doc is going to take us into deeper things. So, for instance, if you take a hormone and an enzyme, one typical example that satisfies both a hormone and enzyme is what we call renin. And this is secreted by the kidney. It is involved in the arterial vasoconstriction, which is outside of the kidney cells. So it is a hormone and it's also a peptide, which is an enzyme, which is considered both a hormone and an enzyme. So miraculous. This pepsin and the renin thing plays both ways. All right, now I'll let Doc take us through.
You're breaking up.
You said I'm breaking up. You can't hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's okay now. Yeah, it's okay
now. Okay. All right. So Doc has provided some slides that he's going to go over. And so I will leave the reins to him to take over and then take us through the slides. And I believe at the end of this study, normally when you take a class, they tell you at the end of this course, you should be able to know what hormones operate in your body. I'm not going to suck the information out of his lips. I'll let him do it himself and introduce hormones and the various hormones that we have that actually help in our metabolism or digestion, whatever you want to call it. All right, over to you, Doc.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Boyson. Yeah, I think you've done a very fantastic job there. Excellent job. Many people don't know what actually goes on in their body. And before I start, I just say a disclaimer. This is not a representation of any governmental organization, or I've collected any money in regards to this presentation. So I think I just want to make that clear. All right. So what should we know about hormones? So hormones are chemicals, like you said earlier, that coordinate different functions in the body, carrying messages through, your blood, the organs, muscles, or tissues. These signals tells your body what to do and when to do it. Okay. So I just want you to know that ahead. So let me go over here. And I see the structure of someone that is raising his neck up. Before we go into that, we have different kinds of hormones in the body. We have thyroid hormone, we have growth hormone, we have insulin, we have testosterone, we have estrogen, we have cortisol, and we have melatonin. Okay, we'll be taking this one by one, as we go along, so that at least we also will be able to, have some knowledge about what is going on in our body, so that when you go for that your checkup, at least you will be able to ask informative questions. You will be coming from a position of somebody that is informed, that knows what he's talking about. So, because sometimes you see those numbers, you are scared, you don't know what to do. Then you be okay. They're not okay. The doctor that you saw last time is not here. He's maybe he's on vacation or he's on emergency leave. So what do you do? But if you know some of those information that you're supposed to know, you won't be upset, or you won't be trying to do things on your own that you don't even understand. So, but when you understand it, then you will be rest assured that nothing is going on. That maybe when the doctor now comes around, he comes to explain better to you. Anyway, so just to let you know, to be taking thyroid hormone, at least to help us, because some people, when they get early sweat in the morning, or they are thirsty, necessarily, or they are always tired. They don't know why. We're going to be talking a little bit about thyroid hormone. Thyroid hormone, you say, if you look at, for men, they say they have Adam's apple. I don't think Adam doesn't have any apple.
Because he ate some fruit, huh?
So he's choking on it. I mean.
Yeah, he choked, yes. We still don't know whether it was an apple or it was an orange, or all we know that it was a fruit.
Okay. So you see, I think Dr. Boise has another analogy to that. So we'll wait for him when they come out with
because if you read Genesis, it doesn't say anywhere that it was an apple.
Exactly.
Some fruit. So it's human beings who have equated it to apple. I don't know who
some kind of apple. At least some kind of apple. And Eve has been eating it ever since. Just showing one time and they were caught.
I guess that's why they say an apple a day takes the doctor away. So maybe.
Okay, so as I was saying, if you look at the diagram, you see in the neck area here, you have what is called a thyroid gland, and it gives a feedback to your hypothalamus, which is a body, it's just a small body, around your neck, that gives a TSH, which is thyroid stimulating hormone, then your T3, which is a triiodine, and the T4, which is the thyroxine, and the calcitonin. I'll be talking a little bit about this as we go along, just for you to see the structure. The hypothalamus is actually at the base of your brain here, at the back of your head. A small structure, but it's very, very important. Okay. All right. Thyroid hormone is the hormone that is mainly responsible for controlling the speed of your body metabolism. You see some people can eat a bowl of food, but you won't see it in their body. That means their thyroid is working very well. And some, they say they are obese. Their body is not doing what it's supposed to do. Metabolizing those food that they are taking in. Is slowed down. There must be a reason for that. So we'll be talking about that in a short while. So just for you to know that thyroid hormone is the hormone that's mainly responsible for controlling the speed of your body's metabolism. Like those athletes, you will see them. Some of them, if you look at their stomach, it looks as if they don't have any stomach. Because they burn all the things, they burn it off. As soon as they take in, they burn the thing off. Okay, so let's keep going. So in infants, for example, thyroid hormone is critical for brain development. The next slide. Okay. Is critical for brain development. Your thyroid is small butterfly shape, like you saw in that diagram, located at the front of your neck, under your skin, makes and releases thyroid hormone, like I showed in that diagram earlier. So what should we know about thyroid hormone? Hormones are chemicals, generally, that coordinates different functions in your body by carrying messages through your blood to your organs, muscles, and other tissues. Okay, this signals tells your body what to do and when to do. There's one thing to know what to do, and another thing is for you to know when to do it. Because if they're just doing what they're supposed to do at every time, then probably you won't be able to sleep. So that is why they are scheduled to do certain things at certain time. So what to do and when to do it. And that is why when you see someone that has diabetes, for example, the insulin that they have is not doing what it's supposed to do when it's supposed to do it. Okay, so now metabolism is the complex process, of how your body transforms the food that you are eating, into energy. All of these cells in your body need energy to function. And how do they, come about, this energy that they use to function? For example, your thyroid also releases a hormone called calcitonin, which we saw in that diagram earlier, to help regulate calcium levels in your blood by decreasing it. Calcitonin isn't grouped into the thyroid hormone, and it doesn't impact your body metabolism like T3 and T4. So you should also know that. For example, now if you go into the lab and they say they are doing your hormone analysis, or they said they are doing your hormone assay, and maybe your calcitonin is now high, see it in the slip that they gave to you or your lab result, then you start panicking. The thing is, you should always let your clinician interpret your result for you, because when things, we'll go into that in a little bit, and you see why some of them are high, some of them needs to be low, because some are high, because your body is built, our God is very intelligent. The body is built in a way that it regulates itself. So when some of the hormones are high, some will be low, in order for you to bring a balance, which they call a
balance, homeostasis.
Homeostasis, to bring a balance in your body. Okay, so just remember that. So thyroid hormone production, like I said earlier, production and release of the hormone like thyroxine, which is T4, and the triiodothyronine, which is T3, is controlled by a feedback loop system that involves the following. Number one, the hypothalamus, the pituitary gland, the thyroid gland, and also the multiple hormones that it branches out to. So more details on that is your pituitary gland, for example, is connected to your hypothalamus, like I told you earlier, that is at the back of your head here in your brain, through a stalk of blood, vessel, and nerves. This is called the pituitary stalk. Through the stalk, your hypothalamus communicates with your pituitary gland and tells it to release certain hormones. Once your thyroid releases thyroxine into your bloodstream, certain cells in your body transform it into triiodothyronine through a process called deionization. What that means is, you see, T4 is becoming T3. What happened is one of the iodine is being removed, and that is why it's now T3. Okay, this is because cells that have receptors that receive the effects of thyroid hormone are better able to use T3 and T4. See, because they need that T3 instead of T4. So the T4 needs to be reduced to T3. Okay, therefore T4 is generally considered to be inactive form of thyroid hormone. So if they say your T4 is high, is the inactive form anyway, because the T3 is what is considered as active, form of your thyroid. All right, I think that is clear now. Then I will now go into a pursuit of explaining all this to you, which is cells in the following tissues, glands, organs, and body system can convert T4 to T3. So cells in liver, for example, can convert T4 to T3. In kidneys, the same thing. In muscles, in thyroid, and in pituitary gland. So we have the brown adipose fat tissue. This type of fat produces heat to help maintain body temperature in cold conditions. For example, those people that live in a cold, I remember there was a time I was in Montana. That place is like 10 degrees, I mean, negative 10 sometimes. You can imagine, and people still live there. So in that place, what helps people that live in that place to control their body temperature is this, thyroid hormone. So central nervous system, for example, thyroid hormone T3 and T4 affects every cell and all the organs in your body. We need to know that. We need to know also that it regulates the rate at which your body uses calories, especially your energy. Some people will say, I'm so tired, I can't do anything, or they've not even done anything, but they are tired already. There's something that is sapping your energy away. So this affects weight loss or weight gain, and it's called the metabolic rate. So your thyroid hormone also affects your metabolic rate. So just keep that in mind. So slowing down or speeding up your heart rate, your thyroid hormone is also involved in that. Raising or lowering your body temperature. I think I mentioned that earlier. Your pituitary gland is also involved in that. So influencing the speed at which food moves through your digestive system. You know, some people who eat now, you will be wondering, you just finished eating. What's wrong with you? And you see him with another bowl of food, you know. So sometimes we don't know what our body is dealing with. Because if you understand how these hormones works, then we will not be saying that, oh no, because maybe something is wrong with him. No. It's just that his body is reacting to certain things that he has in his body. Affecting brain development also. It affects brain development, controlling the way your muscle contract, managing skin and bone maintenance by controlling the rate at which your body replaces dying cells. See, that is also important. What tests measure thyroid levels? We're going to be going into that shortly. And several blood tests can measure this thyroid level. All right. So thyroid hormone, like I said earlier, includes, the diseases that you can see that can cause, some concerns. That we have number one here is hypothyroidism. That is when it is low. When your thyroid hormones are low, they say you have hypothyroidism. Underactive thyroid, then there is what they call Hashimoto disease, which is and from Japan, of course, an autoimmune condition that causes hypothyroidism. Okay, it causes your thyroid to be low instead of being normal. Then you have hypothyroidism, which is hyperthyroidism. Excuse me. Overactive thyroid. This person, you see him, he's looking at you, he's sweating a lot. He can't stand in a place that normally people are sitting there and they are not sweating. You'll be wondering that what's wrong with this guy, because his body is overreacting. His body is overactive. The thyroid is overactive. Also, and there's another disease they call Graves' disease, or an autoimmune condition that causes hyperthyroidism. In this case, the thyroid is high. The level of the thyroid hormone is high in this case. And thyroiditis, thyroid inflation. I mean, people, you see their neck is swollen, because of the reason of this. Thyroid nodules, or some people might have some nodules in their neck area. You say, there's a disease like that. Goiter, enlarged thyroid gland. And some people might have enlarged thyroid gland, that a condition like that, and there's a reason for it. I'll be talking about that too, later on in the course of this presentation. And then you have people that have thyroid cancer, all that they've done that cannot control, maybe it's lower or maybe it's high, it's just being lower, and sometimes it's going to go high. So in that condition, there's nothing they can do. Then sometimes they have to take it out. All right,
Doc, before you go on, can you reflect more on the effects, whether it's under or hyper in relation to obesity?
Oh yes. So obesity, sometimes people misconstrue what obesity actually means. Some people, it might be because they have weight gain, honestly weight gain, that they cannot do away with. They've used all kinds of methods, they've used everything else, it's not working, but they need to look at their thyroid functions. Like I said earlier, that it helps you to increase your metabolism. But if your metabolism is stuck by any chance because of your thyroid, then you'll be gaining weight, because that thing that needs to come out of your body is being stored instead of being released. So I will talk a little bit more when I get to where you see when it's low, when it's high, something that needs to be done, and the one that needs to be low in that respect, you need to make sure that you pay attention to it, because that is why you'll be able to control your body weight, essentially your body weight. So yeah, I will get more into that shortly. So reference ranges, for example, your TSH should be between 0.45 to 4.5. You know, macro international units per milliliter. And your thyroxine, which is T4. Remember, I said this is the inactive form of your thyroid hormone. So this one is 4.5 to 12 micrograms per deciliter. Okay. Now your T3 uptake, you know, there's a way they measure this, and the reason why they are saying is uptake is because it's being captured. It's being captured in your bloodstream. It's being captured. So it's supposed to capture at least 24 to 33%, you know, in your bloodstream when they are doing this test. When you are doing this test, your body, whatever they are using, should be able to capture at least 24 to 39% of T3. Remember, the T3 is the active form of your thyroid hormone, and is the one that is being converted from T4 to T3 because they remove one of the iodine from it. Okay. All right. Free tyrosine index, and that one is generally called T7, and it's 1.2 to 4.9. 1.2 to 4.9. And thyroxine, there's what they call free thyroxine, which is a free T4. The free T4 is between 0.82 to 1.77 nanograms per DL. And your thyroxine, which is T3, the free one, is also 2.0 to 4.4 picograms per milliliter. Wow. So as we make a good, you know, a good close up on these numbers, it's going to help you when you go for your physical checkup, and you kind of compare the numbers and see where you're at, so that you don't just assume that you are okay. For example, if you're having a little bit of what I've said earlier, maybe you are sweating a lot, or you are feeling tired almost all the time. You don't have, you've not done anything, but you are just tired. You know, you need to look into that. You need to find out what is making you tired unnecessarily. All right. Now, this is the disease state analysis, and that is why I said I'm going to get into what Dr. Boysen asked earlier. And this is when you have this is the analysis, because some people don't really understand the reason why this is, and I'm going to explain a little bit. So when, for example, your primary hyperthyroidism, what that means is your thyroid level is low, which is the T4, and then you see your TSH is still high. Okay. But in this case, your T4 is low. It's low. But if you see in the lab report, they say it's high, but you don't know the difference. But you have to ask questions. Say, why is it like that? Even though the TSH is high, the person is having primary hypothyroidism. You know the reason why? Because his T4 is low. T4 is low. And subclinical hypothyroidism too. You know, the TSH is high, but his T4 is normal. Okay. So he probably won't know the effect on time because his T4 is normal. And then when they look at the lab result, they'll be thinking that the guy is okay, but he's actually having hypothyroidism. Okay. For the fact that your TSH is high doesn't mean that your thyroid is okay. And that is what I'm trying to get to, so that we all be on the same plane. You know, so they don't assume. There's no assumption in this. So that is why the explanation is always good, so that people understand it better. The central hypothyroidism, you see that one? It's a hypothalamic and pituitary. That is where it's being affected. And they say both of them are low. You know, your TSH is low. At least this one is understandable. Your TSH is low and your T4 is low. So at least you know it's low, right? This one, compared to the other two above, you see that at least your TSH is not high. It's low, and your T4 is also low. This one is the central hypothyroidism. The primary hyperthyroidism. You know, some people might say, okay, you are saying hyper. Okay, hypo is when it's low. And hyper is when it's high. Okay,
like hypertension.
Exactly. Hyper is when it's high. And as you see in this case now, your TSH is low, your T4 is normal or high, and your T3 is high. Remember, I said earlier that your active thyroid hormone is the T3. But in this case, your T4 is high and your T3 is also high. Your T4 is high or normal, and your T3 is also high. So in this case, what do you think is going to happen? Your T3 that is supposed to be active is still in circulation, so it's working, it's doing what it's supposed to do. But your TSH is low, it's still low, and your T4 is normal or high. You see the difference? Now, this is a subclinical hyperthyroidism. The TSH is low, but your T4 is normal. So they'll be thinking that, oh, this guy is normal. But it's not normal because the TSH is low.
It's very low, yeah.
And even the T4, if you look at the T4, is normal. So they'll be thinking that, oh, maybe everything is okay with him. Until now, they now measure the TSH. They ask that, oh, the TSH is also low. Because there must be a correlation of whoever is interpreting the result to understand this. Because if you don't understand this, you probably will be giving a different result to the patient. And that is why exactly a one-on-one discussion is very important, in ensuring that this is well understood. Okay, look at the central hyperthyroidism, TSH producing tumor. In this case, this person is having a cancer. See, with TSH producing tumor, you see, the TSH is high, the T4 is high, and also the T3 is high. You see that everything is high. You see why? So you can see the difference of that compared to others that we've talked about. Then there's what they call thyrotoxicosis factita.
Wow.
In that case, you see the TSH is low, T4 is high, and T3 is normal or is increased also, is high. So if you look at primary hyperthyroidism and thyrotoxicosis, you see that they are almost the same, but they are different. The features, what the person is going to be exhibiting might look, the same, but what they are going through is actually different. You see, because the T3 in that case is either normal or high.
But it's so funny, Doc, that this analysis obeys what we used to call Charles' law and Boyle's law. If you remember, one is a direct relationship and inverse relationship.
Inverse relationship.
Pressure and volume. It's kind of funny. You have to know how these things relate. Whether they are all related. They are either they are all normal or some are normal and inversely proportional. One is normal, one is abnormal, and all that. You
need to be able to correlate those results together. The bottom line is whoever is explaining this or is interpreting these results should be able to know which one is affecting the other, so that will not just be adding pain to the injury of the patient. Because if you don't treat it correctly, is either the patient will come back having another problem, or you are not treating the patient at all. So because you need to know which one is affecting the other and how you can make sure that the other one that is not affecting it is a little bit high to compensate for the one that is low. You see where I'm getting at? So that is why you have to understand.
Doc, let me ask a question that maybe a patient, a lay person who doesn't understand lab may try to understand. You and I work in the lab, so we understand. How can a patient that, okay, Doc, I went to my clinician and the results they are giving me, I don't believe it. How do I ensure that these results that they are giving me is genuine or it's right? How do they verify that?
Okay, so now you've asked a very valid question, and this is what I believe everybody should be asking. When you have a result in your hands, the first thing you are going to look at is the result. You're going to look at what is it? What is my number? Okay, they say my number is 20. Okay, now go and look at the reference range of that particular analyte. You want to see, for example, like we talked earlier, then you want to see, let's say they say your TSH is 0.8, for example. So you know that, okay, your number is 0.8. So what you are now going to do is, and every result must come with a reference range. So you want to look at your reference range and make sure that is your number within the reference side. Is it within the reference range or is it outside the reference range? And it could be lower than the reference range or higher than the reference range. So what you want to have in your mind is you are looking at that same result, which is saying you have 0.8 TSH. And when you look at your reference range, it's saying that the reference range is 0.45 to 4.5 unit, international unit per milliliter. Okay, so if your number is below that, you know that it's hypo, that is, it's lower than the reference range. And if it's higher than, you know that it's hyper. So what you want to do is you want to relax, don't get upset, don't get worked up. Call your doctor and tell the doctor that this is what you have seen, and if you see okay for you to have a one-on-one conversation with him. And again, it might not only be that your TSH is low, it's also maybe your T4. Maybe your T4 is also low. So in that case, you want to ensure that you are not interpreting the result by yourself. You want your doctor, and sometimes I know, for example, Duke is doing a very good job on that. Duke my chat, because my parents, sometimes when they go for their checkup, their result comes in the my chat. So I check it for them and I say, oh, they send the result, then you see the reference range, then you can correlate it with whatever it is. Then the doctor probably won't, if your result is normal, they won't say anything afterwards. But if it is of concern, they will tell you to come and repeat the test or to come for another, visit, which makes sense. Okay. Which makes sense. Yeah, okay. Which makes sense. So, like, for example, the question you asked, people should be more, aware of what they need to do with their result, not that you just look at it and just ignore it. Some people will say, it's not my portion.
they refuse it in Jesus' name. I refuse it in Jesus' name.
And then they refuse it. Most people will say, I reject it. It's not my portion. And they ignore it and they just leave it like that. That is not good. That is a very dangerous, approach, dealing with your health. And my people, please, if you see something like that, please act on it and let your clinician explain better to you. Even God told us in the Bible that we should take care of ourselves, because our body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. So we should, take good care of it.
Oh, okay. Right. What I just want to add is to give assurance, to assure patients or, people who go to hospital and maybe they doubt the result. What I want to say as from the point of lab is that before any testing is done, there's something we call quality control, QC. As soon as we go, it depends on whether the QC is done in the night or in the morning. There are some hospitals or labs that they try to do their QC in the night when it is quiet and there are not too many patients. So they run all the analyze cartridges. So the instrument has to be calibrated or whatever it is to make sure it's going to give you the results as it's supposed to do. So when they run the QC, they are testing for TSH or T4, whatever. There's a range, like Doc mentioned. The instrument rounds the QC, giving some control levels. So normally it's a positive or negative or some ranges. Maybe it could be 3 levels that we run. We run the low level, the normal, and the high level. So these QCs are performed to make sure the instrument is going to measure exactly what it wants to measure. So when the QC passes, every now and then QC will fail. Maybe either the cartridge being used is expired, or the controls being used is expired, or the instrument has its own menopause or problems going on. So they have to run the instrument, make sure it's going to give us a result. So when the QC passes, a printout is made, or these days people don't even print out a lot. It's filed. So the instrument is run, they look at the results there. I mean, that's what Dr. Oloyede does. In chemistry, he looks at all the results that come out. Okay, level 1 is between the reference, which is correct. Level normal is fine. High is fine. So that when they eventually put the normal patient results in the instrument, whatever comes out is your results. because they did a QC and the QC passed, the instrument is good to go. So you can't blame the instrument for your results. Maybe you ate too much fat and you went to the lab and you drew your sample. Don't blame the instrument. I know one doctor that I think we discussed some time ago. I don't want to mention his name. Anytime you give him a lab results, he will doubt it. Are you sure that's the patient result? Is that the right CBC value? Is that the right whatever? So he will come to the lab, check the QC, make sure QC pass everything. So so my question was, asking, I don't want to use the word the devil's advocate, but it's asking for, layman, somebody who will go and say, oh, is that my results? No, I refuse it in Jesus' name. That's not my result. But what you have to know is that the instrument has been run that morning or that evening, the QC has passed. So whatever is in your blood is you. So you have to accept it. Sometimes when it's abnormal, of course, they rerun it. Make sure this sometimes doc will run a sample, and so either your sample is has too much chylomicrons or too much fat, and so there are some interferences that will cause the results to be doubted. But if your sample is normal and they run it on the instrument, they tell you that your T4 is so and so, you can refuse as much as you want to refuse, but that's your normal you, because the instrument pass, QC pass, and everything is legit. They just have to repeat it if it's in doubt, and make sure, and when they repeat and it's the same thing, then Jack, you can't doubt it. So that's just what I wanted to throw in. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Boyce, for that. Because especially people from African descent, I want to talk to you for a minute. It's not my portion. For B, not for B. There's nothing like that. We need to take care of our health, because sometimes it might look as if okay, so why did you even go through the process if you know that you are not going to take quality measure to help you understand, and also to control whatever it is, because it's money involved, your time, and also whoever is dealing with it also on the other end is spending time to ensure that the result comes out right. Yes. So all put together comprehensively, you need to know that there's a reason why your doctor or your clinician said you should go and take that test. You must have maybe check you and see, oh, maybe you are having some lumps under your neck, and they say, okay, maybe let me just do the TSH, and you think it's just for a play, and they tell you this is what it is in the lab, and you say, oh, it's not my portion, I reject it, and I'm going to sit at home and not do anything about it. Please don't let us do that. I know this is common among us, and I believe as time goes on, we're getting enlightened, and we know the reason why we should, act more. Sometimes some people will address it very late, and by that time it's really late. Yeah, so we don't want to get into that, situation. And I believe as we go along, we'll get ourselves the help that we need on time. Thank you so much. All right. Okay, go ahead. You want to say something?
No, that's it. Thank you. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The summary slide says now the diagram again in a different form though. In this time, you have the hypothalamus, then you have your thyroid releasing hormone, which is at the base of your neck. Like I said earlier, it's inside. You probably won't be able to see it. It's very, very small at the base of the brain. It's called thyroid releasing hormone. That's what hypothalamus is. So it releases it into the pituitary gland, where you have your TSH. Then underneath in your neck here, you have your thyroid gland, which secretes your T3 and your T4. Now remember, I said T4 is the inactive form of your thyroid hormone. The T3 is the active form. It's the one that goes around and do all the stuff, that the body needs. And before the T4 is just there, and at a time it will be converted to T3. At a time it will be converted to T3 because one iodine is being taken out of it, and that is why you see T3 going around in the body, and is the one that is more, like I said earlier, I said the uptake, because it's being captured, because once it gets to where it's going, it's being used because it's the active form, and that is why they use that word uptake. So the T3 and T4 runs in your blood vessel, goes to your liver, goes to your brain, goes to other organs of the body, and do what they're supposed to do. Like I said, metabolism, involved in metabolism, ensuring that your blood cells are okay, ensuring that your brain and also your production of other hormones are being also guided and ensure that they are being released at a particular time, that they are available to be used. So like I said, there's a difference between being available to be used and also being used for what is actually targeted to do. So those are the things. We'll be talking more about hormones in the course of this program. And I believe some people that have diabetes, for example, your insulin, you may have a lot of insulin that are not active. If the insulin is not active, that means it's not controlling the blood sugar. It's just high for nothing. And because it's not helping your body to absorb the glucose that it needs. So that is why you have the high glucose level in your bloodstream. So we'll be talking more about this just to help you understand and how to better, do the better for yourself as your health is required. Thank you so much, and I look forward to hearing your feedback, comments, and also.
And what I want to go about, the last slide a little bit, the abnormal thyroid hormone.
Okay. So thyroid hormone, the abnormal thyroid hormone levels usually cause noticeable symptoms. Like I said earlier, since thyroid hormone is responsible for controlling the speed of your metabolism. Too much thyroid hormone can make it faster than normal, and too little thyroid hormone can slow it down. This imbalance causes certain symptoms, including, like I said earlier, intolerance to cold or heat. You see some people, they cannot stand heat. They're just in the room with them. You are not sweating, but they are sweating as if they've just finished running a marathon. You'll be wondering, is it not the same room that we are? Their body cannot control it, because of the body imbalance, the hormonal imbalance in the body. They cannot tolerate, and so other people cannot tolerate cold. I remember in those days, I remember my roommate back in Chicago then, when I was in the school, we'll put on the AC. The room will be so cold. And we all know how Chicago weather is. Chicago is cold already. During winter time. And this guy will come in and put on the. I said, wow. I said, what kind of
and Africa man was really cold.
So I think you get the gist. So I was like, what's wrong with this guy? So sometimes your body, is adjusted, and you like the cold, you want the cold, and then the AC is not affecting you that much. But some of us, we cannot stand in cold like that. We have to say no. We cannot, go ahead and stay there. Unexplained weight gain or weight loss. Say unexplained weight gain or weight loss. If you notice that you are excruciating, pain, and you have some kind of maybe you weigh like 150 last month, and this month you are weighing like 120. Something is wrong, and you are not doing exercise. It's not that you are doing anything extraordinary. You just wake up, go to work, come back, eat your food, do whatever you have to do, and you discover that your weight has really decreased up to like 30
difference, unit difference,
pounds. You should do something about it. And if you notice that you gain 30 pounds within that short time frame, you should also do something about it. You see, unexplained weight gain or weight loss, something that you cannot explain. How did this happen? It's not that you are eating too much, or you are not doing exercise too much, but it's just that you just notice that you lost weight excessively. You need to do something about it. Or slow or fast heart rate. Some people, they will just be talking to you and it looks as if they want to collapse because their heart is working too much. Their heart is overspeeding. When a car is overspeeding, what happens? The car is
you get a ticket.
You know, their heart rate is,
Yeah, your
is
whole body
you know,
mechanism.
exactly. So, or it slows down, or maybe the heart rate really slows down. You know, they look like, oh, what's wrong? They look pitiful. I mean, you look at their face, they are not looking so, you know, so bright as they used to be. Something is going on. So they should go and check their thyroid hormone. Dry or moist skin. You know, some people no matter how much cream they put on their skin, you know, their skin will look like scale, like something that falls from a, you know, something is wrong. You know, if you have dry skin like that, or your skin is always moist, like somebody that just, you know, is just coming out from the shower all the time, yeah, something is wrong. You know, you need to get yourself checked. And also last but not least is irregular menstrual cycles for women. You know, anything that is causing that, you need to, you know, ask your clinician to check your thyroid hormone for you, because you might not have an idea, but it's not only the estrogen and all other follicle stimulating hormone alone that affects female in that regard. You know, your thyroid hormone, like I said earlier, is, let's just say, is the one that actually captures everybody, because it is produced from the base of the brain, which, you know, goes to all the parts of the body. So you cannot, you know, underestimate its function. So please keep those in mind, and as we do so, and then I think God will help each and every one in every respect. Thank you so much. And like I said earlier, I want questions, feedback, or comments. Thank you.
Wow, this is awesome. I think one day we'll have to bring Dr. Omofoye to, as a neurosurgeon, to come and explain to us what actually goes on inside the brain and how this thing, because this is almost like a miracle. The body is such that nobody can actually go into the body and explain what happens. But thank God for science. You know, God works with science. For those of you who think the spirit and the science are antagonistic, no, God uses science to explain to us what he has created. So what Doc said is explains everything. Some of you just keep on being angry because you said you drink, keep saying that I just drank water and I'm getting fat and I'm getting obese. So you don't understand. But tonight, this lesson is taught us that there might be something wrong with your thyroid hormone. I mean, some people don't eat that much and they keep gaining weight. So you don't understand, why do I just even drink water and I'm getting fat? Some of these things you have to find out, talk to your doctor. That is why it's imperative that you don't delay your annual checkup or some of you go way 5-6 years and you haven't even seen your doctor. And I'm talking to some of you in Africa. You say, oh, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Sometimes you don't have to wait for it to break before you fix it. Look at the situation. Look at how is it working well. Maybe there's a little glitch. Don't wait for it to break completely before you fix. There are times that you want to say, okay, I'm going to wait for it to break before I fix it. Well, it might apply in some areas. But when it comes to your body, please, you have only one body and only one life. If you're going to wait till it's broken before, it might be too late. So when you see a little bit of glitches going on, rush in and get it checked. Your thyroid, I mean, we've done, Doc mentioned 6 of them: the thyroid hormone, the growth hormone, insulin, testosterone, estrogen, cortisol, and melatonin. When it comes to testosterone, it's the famous hormone for men. Men are so much in love with testosterone. When we get that, I'm sure it's going to be crazy. Men and testosterone, going to the gym, everything has to do with testosterone. It's going to be an interesting topic. But your thyroid hormone is very important. I have learned more. I mean, even though I work in the lab years ago, I still learned something today that your thyroid hormone is responsible for a lot of things. Whether you become obese or under obese is very important. So I want to thank God, Doc, for making this possible, and also on behalf of my studio manager, Dr. Setutu, and the whole ERA1 team. And Doc said it earlier on. He made in the disclaimer that we are not getting paid for this. We are just sharing the knowledge that we have acquired. Going to school, of course, we paid our own tuition or here and there, but then the knowledge we acquired, we are not being selfish. We are sharing them. Some of you go to the lab and you don't understand your results. You don't even bother to ask your doctor what these results mean. They'll tell you, oh, everything is normal, and then you just walk away. Your normal may be just on the borderline, before it goes into out of range. I mean, so if your your tyrosine is 0 point something to whatever, the last borderline, the edge of it, that you move into high. So because you don't move into high, you think everything is normal, but the following year, it could go into a different parameter or number. So it's very important that we take our numbers very seriously. And I want to caution our African people, please, as much as possible, don't always think that, oh, I am healthy, I'm going to wait till something breaks down. Doc Oloyede just mentioned it might be too late when you get him. Some people have experienced cancerous cells. They experienced cancer tumor in their breast. They never took it serious. The men just hold it, they funded it, and so, oh, baby, you are fine. They keep, one day you go to the hospital and say, well, you should have come a long time ago. There was a tumor or something in your, we have to check all these things because miracles are there. God comes with a miracle when it's too late and he will come in. But before that, what happens? Let's take good care of our health, and it's very important. Well, Doc, any closing remarks before we leave? I know you've said a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just make sure that at least we pay close attention to our health and let God be God, and let's do what we're supposed to do as human beings too.
All right, thank you very much. Let me play my jingle and then we'll leave because I love
Era One Radio. Era One Radio. Era One.
Kosuwa na ti Era One Radio empenyini say yensoma na motenten yesoma banyasafo Era One Radio yedin sem anumuaye ebrem.
The two jingles just speak about what Era One does. The first one was in Chi, both of them are Chi, and all they were saying is that if you want to listen to good information, good advice, good counseling, tune into Era One. We are 24/7, and so the radio is opened every hour of the week. Listen, and of course, from Monday through Sunday, we have activities all throughout for you to listen. We even have, programs for women. I know Sister Abina's group hasn't been online for a while, but I'm just reminding them that they have to come back. And so on this note, let me remind Sister Abina from Poma and the team that we are expecting you to come back. Take a listen.
They are 4 women. They are beautiful with brains. They are eloquent, decent, wise, and experienced. You have heard many, the funny. Now, it's time to hear the experience and the brainy. Meet Selena, Dorcas, Gifty, and Annette as they present the real in common getting. In common BISSC as in Takrenu assume the real in common getting. Showing live this and every Sunday, 7 p.m. on Era One Radio on Facebook and on YouTube, Era One Radio and on Taibo channel. Kaise, so we see the real in common getting ya. What brabon tete, we nyan konkonsa, we the real in common getting.
On that note, we'll say goodbye. Today is the first day of June. We are almost in the first half of the year. I don't know what your visions, your plans are for the year, but whatever you said at the beginning of the year, we are in midway. Get things moving and get things working. In terms of health, make sure you are doing your checkup, you are seeing your doctor, you are running your labs, make sure you know all your parameters, you know your numbers, your blood pressure, your sodium level, potassium, everything that pertains to your body, because the life of every animal is in the blood. Go to the lab and let them draw your blood and test your blood and see what is there. Because if you don't, and they wouldn't know what is inside. And those of you who are scared of needles, it doesn't hurt. We take it every day. Just go and let them give you a little pinch and take a little bit of blood and you should be fine. All right, Doc, thank you very much as usual. Thank you for spending an hour and a few minutes with that. We appreciate it so much. Until we come your way again next week, stay blessed and keep staying healthy. All right, bye-bye for now. Era One Radio.
Samupe, Jumpe Dietia, Timothy and Uncoto, Era One Radio. Oh, and Umpankuma, Asam Pankuma, and Ratunkuma, Era One, Yelebo Umpankuma.
Hello, beautiful people of Ghana. This is Banahine Specialist Hospital. We are so excited to announce to our people Ghana that we are finally opened and we are accepting patients. At Banahine Specialist Hospital, our extraordinary physicians and nurses are here to provide a high quality medical service to our extraordinary patients. Our services include primary care services, maternal, neonatal, and pediatric services. We also have an in-house pharmacy. We have x-ray and laboratory services available to you. Come to us for all your healthcare needs and you will be happy you did because we believe the health is wealth. Thank you and stay blessed.